Hello, good afternoon students. Welcome to the live lecture of Real Analysis 1. In the last lecture, we have completed two important theorems proving integrability of addition of two functions is addition of the respective integration, this one. And in the second theorem, we have proved the integration of difference of two functions is the difference of the respective integrations respective. This we have proved. Now in today's lecture, we were going for an important theorem which we have used many a times in our higher secondary level. But now we were going to prove it. Okay. What theorem we were going to write is, see, we have already used it. No, if we have some integration from a to b, okay, and if c is a point in between a and b, then we have written already that this integration a to b is exactly same as integration a to c plus c to b. Okay, this we have used. Now we are going to prove this. Let me write the statement of this theorem. If a bounded function here is integrable, see, every time we were writing bounded function right now, because we were checking the integrability only for the bounded function. For not bounded function, it is not possible to find the integration. Correct? No? If f is a bounded function which is given to be integrable, on which interval it was given integrable, say it is on the interval a to b, then prove that it is also integrable and prove that it is also integrable on closed interval AC and CB, where C is the point of this closed interval A to B. Okay, this is what first point actually. 3 points to prove in all. This is the first point. In the second, AC and CB, then prove that it is also integrable on closed interval A. Is the voice clear to everyone?
Yes, ma'am.
Now the third point we were going to prove is, in either case, we were going to write integration a to b f dx is equal to integration a to c f dx plus integration c to b f dx, provided this is the point between a and b. Is that okay? If geometrically I want to explain this structure, okay, what does it mean actually? Can anyone tell me? Why integration a to b is integration a to c plus c to b? Yes? What we know integration is nothing but the area bounded by the function, right? No? But if suppose this
Yes,
is
ma'am.
my function and these are the bounds, this is the interval on which my function f is integrable. Integrable means which is the area we are going to find with this? This is the area, right? Now if I am taking C is the any point, if I am taking C is the any point in between A to B, then if I just find the integration on A to C, what will be the integration? Is this the integration? This region. Integration on A to C. Similarly, this is the area or the integration over the interval C to B. Therefore, if we just look at, if we combine from A to C and C to B, correct? If we
Yes,
combine
ma'am.
from A to B and A to C and C to B, we will get the whole area covered from A to B. Is that okay? This is integration A to C. This is integration C to B, which is exactly same as integration A to B. Correct? Let us prove it theoretically with the mathematical reasoning C1. There are 3 points to prove. In the first point, we will assume that it is integrable on AB, and then we will try to prove that it is integrable on AC and CB. Let me go for step number 1. Okay, what should I assume here, or what should be the given thing in the first step? Given that F is bounded and integrable, it is bounded and integrable on closed interval AB. And what we wanted to prove, the function is integrable on AC and CB. Okay. Before checking the integrability, what can you say about the boundedness of the function on these two intervals? It is already given to be bounded on AB. Okay. Where this AB is being partitioned into two different parts, AC and CB. If it is bounded on AB, can I say obviously it is bounded on AC and CB?
Yes, ma'am.
Right. Therefore, we were going to check directly the integrability instead of the boundedness. Okay. Therefore, as the function is given to be bounded on the closed interval AB, let me write the condition of integrability. Okay. Therefore, can I write? Therefore, for every epsilon greater than 0, for epsilon greater than 0, there exists a partition P such that, what is the condition of integrability tells us that UPF minus LPF is less than epsilon. Okay, let me call it as statement number 1. Which form of condition of integrability we have written? First form?
Condition of integrability. Second form.
Yes, it is second form. Because in the first form, what is the essential condition? Norm of partition is less than delta. Second form of condition of integrability. Okay. Now what we will do? We will going to add a point C in this partition. Let me try to explain you with the help of a sketch. Okay. Suppose this is my original partition P, whatever it is. We are not bothering about that. X0, X1 to some xn. Okay. These are some points in the given partition. What we were going to do? We were going to add a point C in this partition. Then may I say, after adding this point C in the original partition, it becomes a refinement. Correct now? One point we have added extra. Okay? So let me call the partition as a refinement of the original partition. P, say P star. Therefore here I am going to write, let P star be the refinement. P star be the refinement of P such that. What such that? What we have written P star is whatever is P, and we have taken the union with one more element, say C. Is that okay? Where C is an element in the closed interval AB. Okay? Is everyone getting me?
Yes, ma'am.
Now we will write the relation between the upper sums and lower sums with respect to original partition, with respect to the refinement. We already know that LPF is less than or equals to LP star F. Correct now? This we have proved. What for UP star F? What is the relation with UPF? Upper sum decreases, right? Less equal. And what is the relation here in the middle? Every lower sum is less equal by the upper.
But yes.
Therefore, this is the relation we have. Now, what I'm going to do, let me just divide it from this step and let me rewrite. So, we will write LP star, LPF is less than or equals to LP star F. Similarly, UP star F less than or equals to UPF. Is that okay? Our aim is to show the function is integrable on AC and CB. For this, we were going to check the condition of integrability on P star, on the partition P star. Let us add it. Okay, what will happen if I add both the inequalities? It gives us UP star F plus LPF less than or equals to LP star F plus UPF. Okay, we have already familiar, or we know already the condition is true with respect to the partition P. Therefore, here we wanted to check with respect to the new partition, that is P star. For this, I just separate the sums over the respective partitions. Okay. Therefore, this lower sum I will shift on the left. So that on the left we have the sums regarding the partition P star. This lower sum shifted to the right. This becomes UPF minus LPF. Is that okay? But what about this? UPF minus LPF? By equation number 1, this is less than by epsilon because the function is integrable on the closed interval AB. Can I write here UP star yeah, minus LP star yeah? Shall I write strictly less than by epsilon? And the reason is from statement number 1. Let me call it as statement number 2. Okay. Okay. What is the meaning then? The function is integrable on closed interval AB again, but with an addition of a point C in the original partition. Now what the job we will do, whatever the point we have added here extra, whatever the point we have added here extra, now this is A and this is B, C point we have added extra in the original partition. Therefore, what we will do, we will make two different partitions of this interval AB with the help of this C. Therefore, what I will do, whatever the partition points between A to C we have, we will call it as say P1, and from C to B, we will call it as P2, because the aim is to show the function is integrable on AC and CB. Okay. Then our aim is to check the condition of integrability with respect to this partition P1 and with respect to the partition P2. Okay? Is everyone getting me? We have separated the partition P star with two different partitions, P1 and P2, where P1 is the collection of all points between A to C, okay, and P2 is the collection of all points between C to B. So that it will be easier for us to prove the integrability on AC and CB. So let me just write, let P1 and P2 denotes, let P1, P2 denotes the set of points of P star between first is AC, P2 is a collection of points between CB respectively. Okay, then clearly may I say both are the partitions of AC and CB such that union will be P star. Clearly, P1, P2 are partitions of the closed interval AC and partition of the closed interval CB respectively. And what about P star? May I write P star as P1 union P2? Okay. If P star is P1 union P2, can anyone tell me the relation between the upper sums of P star, P1 and P2? U P star here, U P1 here, added with U P2. Let me write an addition here. What we were going to do? We were going to find out the upper sum separately on P1, separately on P2, and I wanted to ask you what is the relation with upper sum with respect to this P star. Yes, can anyone tell me?
Equal to ma'am.
Yes, it is equal to. Let me just explain. Actually, this UP star here, here what I will do, I will write interval directly. Okay, interval or closed interval A to B, mi delta xi. Correct now? Is that okay? And now we were going to find the relation between interval AC, mi delta xi, added with interval CB, mi delta xi. Therefore, if we just add up both the summation, it will give me this sum, right now? Interval AC added with interval CB. Correct now? Therefore, this is an actual equality. Or one can write, this is in the addition actually. Okay, AC plus CB addition. May I write here AB? You might write. Okay. Therefore, here can I write equality? UP star F is nothing but UP1F plus UP2F. Let me call it as statement number 3. And similarly for the lower sum as well. LP1F plus LP2F. Let me call it as statement number 4. Is that okay? Now, we already have this relation. UP star F minus LP star F is less than epsilon. Here we have calculated both the values UP star, LP star in terms of P1, P2. Therefore, let me make the subtraction of 3 and 4, and we know already it is less than by epsilon. Is that okay? Here you will write subtracting 4 from 3. What we will get a subtraction? UP star F minus LP star F. What is the terms on the right side? May I write UP1F minus LP1F added with UP2F minus LP2F. Is that okay? But we already know that this is less than by epsilon. I'll just flip the equation to understand. Okay. UP1F, I'll put it in one bracket. LP1F. Okay. Let me put a bracket added with the second bracket I will write with respect to P2. UP2F minus LP2F, which is equal to UP star F minus LP star F. But we know already this is less than by epsilon, no? What is the statement number? From 2. Okay. If this is less than by epsilon, what about this addition? Is also less than by epsilon?
Yes, ma'am.
And each bracket is non-negative, na? Each bracket is non-negative. Therefore, may I say every bracket is less than by epsilon?
Yes, ma'am.
Since each bracket is non-negative, each bracket on left is non-negative. What can I write? Every bracket is individually less than by epsilon. This is less than by epsilon. Similarly, UP2F minus LP2F is less than by epsilon. Is that okay? Now, what is the meaning? If the function here with respect to partition P1 satisfies the condition of integrability, but P1 is a partition between the points A to C only. That of P2 is a partition of points from C to B. Therefore, now may I say, by looking at both the equations, this gives me the function is integrable on AC. The second gives us the function is integrable on CB. Right now?
Yes, ma'am.
Understood or not? If you have difficulty, you can ask me. F is integrable on closed interval AC and closed interval CB. Okay. What we have done? We have started with one partition P. We have written the condition of integrability. Later we have added a point C extra in the partition. We have called it as a refinement, say P star. Okay. With this point C, we have made two different parts of the given partition as P1 and P2. Therefore, P1 is the partition of the closed interval A to C. That of P2 is the partition from C to B. Okay. And then by using this condition, UP star F minus LP star F less than epsilon, we have tried to establish the relation between UP star F, UP1F and UPF, and we have proved UP star F is exactly equal to UP1F plus UP2F. Same is true for the lower source, and separately we have proved the condition of integrability is true with respect to partition P1 and with respect to partition P2 as well. It gives us the function is integrable on closed interval AC and CB. Now we are going to do exactly reverse of this. Right now, what we want to do in the second part, function is given to be bounded and integrable on AC and CB, and our aim is to show that it is integrable on AB. Now it is easier. Right now, step 2 we will prove. Okay, what is given in the step 2? given that f is bounded and integrable. Can anyone have an idea how can I write the proof? What do you think? Exactly reverse we have to go. Bounded and integrable on closed interval AC and CV. And what we wanted to prove? F is integrable on closed interval AB. Okay, let us just recall how we have made the partition. On whole interval A to B with the addition of point C, we have called it as P star. Correct? The partition on A to C we have called P1. Partition from C to B it is P2. For a clear relation, we know partition P star is P1 union P2. Now function is integrable on AC and CB. Therefore, what about the condition of integrability? May I say the condition of integrability is true for P1 and P2 for the function f, right? And we wanted to prove for P star. Again with the same relation we have to follow. Yeah, this relation. Look at this relation. This is very important relation. This is very important. The same relation we should have now. Now in our hand we have the value of this less than epsilon. This is also less than epsilon. But what is the aim to show? This is less than by epsilon. Therefore, what should be my adjustment?
Epsilon by 2.
Yes, it is epsilon by 2. लक्षात येते का?
हो मॅम.
Yes. Now for epsilon greater than 0, we can find partitions P1 and P2 of closed interval AC and CB respectively such that, what such that? As it is integrable on A to C, we can write the condition of integrability for P1. So this is UP1F minus LP1F. Is it less than by epsilon? Okay. Similarly, UP2F minus LP2F. This is also less than by epsilon. What are the numbers I have written already? I think up to 4 we have written, no? Yes. Shall I call them as 5 and 6? Okay. Now on the next line, what I will do, whatever this P1, P2 we have, we will take a union. Therefore, P1 union P2 will be P star. P1 union P2 will be P star, and clearly I can say P star is the partition of which interval?
Interval AB.
Yes, it is closed interval AB. Okay? Is that okay? Now from 3 and 4, from 3 and 4 with the equation. What are the 3 and 4 equations you can check here? What are 3 and 4? 3 is UP star F is UP1F plus UP2F, and P star F is LP1F plus LP2F. From this, we were going to write. Can I write directly here? UP star F minus LP star F is UP1F minus LP1F added with UP2F minus LP2F. Is that okay? Or instead of writing from 3 and 4, I think we have given the number. We have not given the number for this equation. Okay, let it be. Is that okay? Now we have this term less than by epsilon, this term less than by epsilon, but we wanted to prove combinedly this is less than by epsilon. What should be my adjustment? Epsilon by 2, epsilon by 2. Correct? So shall I write here less than by epsilon by 2 plus epsilon by 2? Reason from 5 and 6. Correct? From 5 and 6. Therefore, this is less than by epsilon. What we have? UP star here minus LP star here less than by epsilon. What it implies? Yes, the function f is integrable on.
Interval AB.
Closed interval AB.
Very good. Closed interval AB. Okay, we have proved first 2 points of the theorem. What the third point tells us? Third point tells us to prove that in either case, that is in whichever the case, whichever integrability given to you, we wanted to show integration a to b is equal to integration a to c plus integration c to b. To prove this equality, again we were going to prove two inequalities going in the opposite direction. Correct na? Whenever we wanted to prove a equal to b, how we were proving? A less than or equals to b, a greater than or equals to b. Correct na? The same fact we were going to use while proving this step. Okay, let me write step number 3. What to prove? Integration a to b f dx is equal to integration a to c f dx added with integration c to b f dx. This is what we wanted to prove. In order to prove this, we were going to make use of the relation of upper sums. We were going to use the relation of upper sums. As we know already, upper integrals are nothing but the infimum of upper sums. Correct now? Upper integral is infimum of all the upper sums. Okay. So before proceeding the proof, what I just wanted to know from you is what is the relation between the infimas of the function. Okay. What I'm going to write here. Suppose we have two functions. Suppose we have two functions, say f1 and f2. We have two functions, f1 and f2. Okay. And if I call the addition as f as f1 plus f2, say, then what is the relation between infima of f, infimum of f1 added with infimum of f2?
Greater equal.
Yes, it is greater equal. Very good. Who has given the answer?
Anjali More.
Yes, Anjali. Very good. Okay. In one stroke, you have given me the answer. Very good. Okay. This is the relation actually. Okay. If someone is having a doubt on this, I can prove it very easily. See. Suppose f1 and f2 are the two functions. Say k1 is infima of f1. Okay. And say k2 is infima of f2. Say. Okay. Therefore, can I write k1 is less than or equals to f1 of x? Similarly, k2 is less than or equals to f2 of x. Infima, no? Least among all the upper bounds. Okay. Therefore, let me make an addition. What this addition tells us, k1 plus k2 is less than or equals to f1x plus f2x. But this f1x plus f2x is nothing but f1 plus f2, no? Operated on x. Therefore, this is one of the, yes, I have said, no? Just make a correction. Okay. Now, whether this works as a greatest lower bound, we don't know whether it is the greatest among all the lower bound. But surely this is the lower bound, no? Lower bound for which function? f1 plus f2 function. Suppose I say k is infima of f1 plus f2. What is the meaning k is infima of f1 plus f2? What will be a relation then? k1 plus k2 and k.
Greater equal.
This is arbitrary lower bound and this is greatest lower bound and the relation will be greater. See, greatest is the word we were using, no? For k is greater equal by k1 plus k2. This relation we were going to use while proving our result. Okay? No need to write this in your original proof. I have explained you this for the sake of your understanding. Is that okay? Here I will write,
Yes,
Yes, ma'am.
we know that for any functions for any function, say s and t, if w is defined as s plus t, then now we were writing the relation between their infimas. Infima of w, infima of s plus infima of t. This is greater. Just now we have established, no? Infima of this addition is infima of kf1 plus infima of f2. Okay. Now let us take some partition P1, P2 of both the intervals AC and CB. Now, for any partition, or for any partitions, P1, P2 of which two intervals? AC and CB,
CB.
respectively, if P star we were going to denote by P1 union P2. Then again we write the relation between the sums, upper sums. So can I write directly now? UP star F is UP1F plus UP2F. Okay. Now, as of you change the partitions P1 and P2 of AC and CB, it will give you the set of all upper sums of function F on AC. Correct? If you're changing the partitions P1 on AC, changing the partitions P2 on CB, may I say, with respect to every partition, we were getting one upper sum. Correct? No? If what we will do, we will change the partitions on AC and CB and correspondingly on the interval AB as well, and we will just take the infima. Therefore, I will write directly now taking infimum of all partitions. We get. Okay, means treating this upper sum as one function. I'm going to treat this as one function, say W, I think. Let me treat this as one function. Let me treat this as another function. Okay, because with respect to every partition, it gives you one value. So this is one kind of function. Correct? And we have written the relation is infima of this sum UP star here is a greater equal by infima of UP1F plus infima of UP2F. Is that okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Treating every sum as one function. Because if I change the partition on the given interval, it will give you one value. Right? Okay. But what is infimum of upper sums?
Upper integral.
Upper integral. For which interval? P star is for A to B. Therefore, shall I write upper integral A to B f dx greater equal by P1. On which interval it is the upper integral?
A to C.
To C. A to C. Upper integral A to C. And this last one is upper integral C to B. Correct now? But we already know all the functions are integrable on AB, on AC and on BC. Okay? Correct now? We have proved in first two steps. Since F is integrable on AB, AC and CB. We have, if it is integrable, may I write this upper integral is equal to actual integration? Correct, no?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, now let me call this as my next equation number. One of the inequality we have proved. What is the number? Do you remember? I think 7. Yeah, up to 6 we have given. Let me call this as 7. One part of the inequality we have proved. To establish the equality, what one should prove? Same statement with less equal inequality. Right now, to proceed with this, again we will use the same strategy, replacing f by minus f. Proceeding with minus f in place of f, we have what we have. Same, wherever f we have, we will replace it by minus f.
Minus F.
What should be my next step? Let me absorb the negative, that is multiplying by minus 1. If I multiply by minus 1, what will happen? Inequality changes and negative get absorbed. Okay, let me call it as statement number 7, and from 7 and 8 we will prove the equality. Hence the proof. If you have any difficulty, you can ask. Actually, we have used it many other times, but we were not knowing the proof. See how much long history we have behind using that statement. Integration a to b is a to c plus c to b. Correct now? This is what the theory
Yes,
behind the steps will. Any difficulty if you have, you can ask me. Okay? If no difficulty, in the next
no,
lecture
ma'am.
we are going to proceed for finding the integrability of product and quotient and modulus of the integrable functions. Okay? Let me stop it here. Thank you for being with me for today's lecture.